I'm on the phone with Ben Forta, Senior Technical Evangelist for Adobe Systems with a great history, Cold Fusion and Flex. Good afternoon, Ben, and thanks for agreeing to the interview.
Hey, Bill. Good to talk to you. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate that. Ben, you obviously have been around this space for a number of years, going back to Macromedia and Alaire days with Cold Fusion. Great pleasure to talk to you today, and I have a couple of questions for you about Adobe MAX.
Max, my favorite topic. Go for it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So any buzz that you can share with us regarding to this year's MAX?
There's a lot I can't tell you. There's going to be a lot of really interesting product announcements, some demos that will completely wow people if they think they've seen us push the envelope at MAX before. They're in for some real surprises this year. So no, I can't tell you any specifics about any of those, but I think it is probably worth noting that if you look at MAX the last few years, we have a history of showing very compelling stuff. Going back several years ago when we first showed a sneak of a feature that got a standing ovation from the audience and ended up becoming the new fill feature in Photoshop the following release, to a couple of years ago when we first showed the ability to start working with Flash and Flex and then end up on an iPad, and then last year with There for TV. So every year we've shown very compelling things that were unexpected and help revolutionize the space, really push the platform forward. And I think people will be very, very excited about what we have in store this year. As in previous years, two very compelling keynotes. We're working on them right now. We have our Sneaks session that we do Tuesday evening every year, and I'm working through some of the Sneaks content right now as well. It is very, very cool content.
With that in mind, I have a question for you. So because this event has an element of technology, of course, it has an element of creative because it is a creative medium. It has a heavy development conference. In other words, it's one of the events that I know of, one of the only events that I know of that kind of combines the element of art, technology, and business. And so with that in mind, curious to know, as a technology evangelist, how do you think that mix the overall development community, and how does that work for the overall creative community?
That's a good question. And you've obviously been attending MAX for a long time if you ask that question, because that's part of the metamorphosis MAX went through from its early origins over a decade ago, when it was very much a single product developer-only conference, and it's evolved along the way. It is very much those mixes. In fact, when you look at the content, we divide them into three very high-level tracks for developers, designers, and then the Envision track, which is more the higher level, the case studies, the business opportunities, kind of the less technical, more industry trends and things. So we do try to talk to all those. And I think it's really important because the days of being a silo with a single product or a single technology are over. If you are building websites, then using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and a backend, or whatever backend may be, is not enough. You're going to be talking everything from Ajax to Flash to Flex to other technologies as well. If you are a designer, then you're more and more being faced with having to do coding also. There's a reason we put scripting in Flash so long ago. There's a reason there's so much buzz around products like the preview of Edge right now, which lets designers start doing some animation that before wasn't really possible. The necessity for developers, designers, for all players in this space to broaden their skill set, understand how other tools work, understand the workflow, the integration points, has become very, very compelling, really critical, really important. And so, we actually don't see that many people come to MAX anymore who sign up for all the Cold Fusion sessions or all the Flex sessions, and that's it. They do cross and they do mix, and there is a lot of crossover and spillover, and that's good. It's important. We try to tell a complete end-to-end story. We want people to hear that story. They should come to learn for. People typically come to MAX to learn one particular thing, but while we're there, we want to expose them to a broader variety, expand their options, and make them realize just what they're capable of doing and what we want them to build.
Yeah, actually, that's a great summary of that. I appreciate that. In fact, I think that's what is so valuable about Adobe MAX, is that it brings all of those elements together with a strong emphasis on business, right? At the end of the day, that's great to be a savvy developer, terrific, creative, artistic designer, but at the end of the day, there is a strong business element to all of the great stuff that we do, right?
Yeah, and you actually see that in even how content is presented at MAX. If you go back years ago, the keynotes were Let's talk about what's new in Dreamweaver. Let's talk about what's new in Cold Fusion. It was very product by product centric. And if you look at what we've done the last year, we've changed that quite a bit. And the keynotes and the big messaging is very much driven about what problem are you trying to solve. And with the recognition that your business need and the problem that you're addressing is going to likely necessitate a variety of products, a variety of technologies, all working nicely together. And so, yeah, we've done a big shift away from the very product silo-centric thinking to business problems and business solutions and helping developers and designers actually address real problems and become very successful in doing so. So yes, that is entirely in line with how we position Max nowadays.
That's what employers want, right? At the end of the day, we want not only developers to think like designers and designers to think like developers, but at the end of the day, we also want them to start working better together, right? It's that whole workflow environment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, excellent. Well, that's a terrific summary of that. I appreciate. So we look forward to seeing you when October. What date, Ben?
So it's early October in Los Angeles. Registration is still open, and it's filling fast. This is going to be. We're fully expecting this to be our biggest Max yet. We have lots of great surprises in store. Some of the pre-conference sessions are actually already sold out, but there still is room in Max itself. If you haven't attended, go to max.adobe.com and you can register right away. It's 3 days. We have 2 days of keynotes. You have our big special party that will be even more special this year, I can promise you. On the second night, we have the sneaks, we have the Max Awards sessions. This year, we've greatly expanded the bring your own device sessions that became popular the last couple of years, where large rooms, camp style, bring your own device, we set you up and walk through some pretty complex scenarios. It's everything Max has always been, just bigger, more of it, more people, more products, more technologies, and a whole lot more fun as well. So if you haven't signed up yet, I'd love to see you there. Go to max.adobe.com.